Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us for the final day of competition of the Premier Ultimate League's 2021 season, culminating at the Midwestern Championships. Today, we've got the Milwaukee Monarchs taking on the Columbus Pride in a competition of two undefeated franchises in 2021. Welcome to Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, the home field of the Milwaukee Monarchs. I'm Robin Fennig, and I'm joined in the booth with Glenn Poole and Leslie Bowie. We're so excited to have you join us today because yesterday was nonstop action. When we got to see some games, we had some weather delays in the middle of the day, but while the action was going on, we saw a lot of athletic plays, we saw a lot of incredible throws, and we're just really excited to see two teams of incredible athletes take the field today. Yesterday, we saw a lot of really great defensive plays by both teams who were able to transition that momentum into some great offensive efficiency. We've got really incredible throwers on both sides of on the disc. Milwaukee was able to spread out a lot of their disc touches a lot more between handlers and cutters with their deep attacks. But on the other side of the story, with the Columbus Pride, we saw a lot of really incredible throws and catches from Sadie Jezierski and Penny Wu with her trademark high-release flick. Although the conditions today are a little bit windier, we're really excited to see some more of that confident, cool, collected throwing from Penny Wu and the rest of her teammates from the Columbus Pride. Today we saw, so those were the highlights from yesterday. Leslie, what's going on today?
Today, we're also curious to hear from our viewers at home what have been your highlights thus far. So you can tweet at us using the hashtag PUL highlights to tell us what have been your favorite things this weekend. Maybe it's been stuff on the field, or maybe it's been hanging out at home. So we're really looking to hearing from you up on Twitter.
And we'll be sure if you have any shout-outs or questions, please let us know. You can feel free to tweet at any of us or the Premier Ultimate League today. Today, Milwaukee's starting on offense, and Columbus is looking to jam up a lot of those passing lanes with some poaching into the lane. So we've got some defenders upfield preventing big upfield continuations. Jenny Corcoran attacking the deep space, but Sadie Jezierski's there to get the block. Looks like we have a call on the play. Let's go to the observers and listen in on the conversation.
I didn't see any contact.
And we've got two observers on the field today who are mic'd up.
Contested foul. Goes back to the thrower.
And it looks like Jacqueline Jarek and Sadie Jezierski were able to resolve the play without going to the observers. So we'll have Jenny Corcoran bringing the disc in at about midfield. Glenn, what are you excited to see today from the Monarchs?
Well, like you said, Robin, it's a little bit windier today, and so I think it's going to be a big defensive matchup between these two teams. Both were able to play a variety of defensive looks with some different zone looks and person defense as well. I think the Monarchs are really patient in this handler space. They're doing a good job of working it between each other. I think that's the kind of composure that's really going to pay off today with these kind of conditions. I'm excited to see them just be really patient and work it together. Looks like they've pushed the Pride defense back to a match, although there is some sagging in the lanes.
And Margaret Walker, the first one to attack deep, finding Kayla Strick wide open in the end zone. Kayla Strick, she's been known for being like a really grinding undercutter, attacking more towards the handlers, but I think with this Milwaukee Monarchs team, she's really found her stride in the deep space. I love, yesterday we spent a lot of time talking about the throws that Milwaukee had, and so we see Marge Walker, stepping nice and low. You can see she's nice and balanced and puts that disc out to space for Kayla Strick.
Let's take another look at this foul call where there was a bit of contact between the defender Sadie Jezierski and Jacqueline Jarek.
It looked like to me that, Jezierski didn't really contact her with her body, but it was really that other arm that maybe came across Jarek. So, we did hear the observers were unable to see any contact. They were probably looking at the body and couldn't really see the arm that was maybe in front of both of the players. So, it was good to see both of the players work that out between themselves because I think that was probably the right resolution there.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about self-officiated sports like Ultimate. Even here at the Premier Ultimate League, the observers are there for clarifications or to provide their perspective when asked, but players are able to work it out amongst themselves.
And here we see Milwaukee in a zone of their own. You know, typically I think we see number 87, Austin Pruka, downfield looking to make blocks into space. I love that they have her closer to the disc in that look. They transition out, and we see Austin Pruka matching up on Libby Lehman, number 2 for the Columbus Pride. I think that's going to be a fun matchup to continue to watch.
That was really smart from Georgia Boscher, staying in the deep space, waiting to contest anything that went up high, and being one of the last people to pick up an individual matchup, knowing that she was there to provide help if needed.
The disc gets centered to Kayla Emmerich, who finds Duffner upfield. So for those of you watching at home, again, we've got that wind direction from right to left on your screen. So right now the Columbus Pride are attacking the downwind end zone. Cara Sieber on the goal line, looking to reset it. Nice patience from the Columbus Pride offense on the end zone line.
That's really strong reset defense from Jackie Welsh, and then forces a high stall throw into the end zone, and the Monarchs are able to get the disc.
So this is the first look at a potential break for the Monarchs today. Sarah Nowak picks up the discs and centers it to Anna Thorne. Right now the Monarchs are working upwind. The wind is more intense than it was yesterday for the Monarchs' first game. I think that the Monarchs kind of have an advantage with that opportunity to go to work against the wind.
And we see it affecting throws in the other direction as well. As that disc gets pushed to the turf, we'll have another break opportunity for the Monarchs.
Anna Thorne will walk up the disc to the goal line. You can see downfield again the Columbus defense right now. They're really trying to prevent the Monarchs from getting any gains through the middle of that zone. Right now, you can see that there's a lot of players right in front of the disc on both teams. Georgia Boscher looking for that smooth give-go option, but again, the wind's just popping it up. Nice read by Anna Thorne there to come down with the disc and keep the disc alive.
Madison Moore with a lovely look out to Ness Candidate, who reads it perfectly.
The Monarchs are knocking at the doorstep here for their first break of the game. And let's see that if they can match that same patience of the Columbus offense, but able to connect perhaps.
Ooh, great bid from Georgia Boscher there. Wasn't quite able to reel it in.
Yeah, it looked like Georgia was a little surprised that the disc came in there. You know, I could see how Anna maybe wanted to squeeze that in there because, quite honestly, when you see an unmarked Georgia Boscher in the end zone, you know that's a worthwhile connection to explore. Columbus Pride unable to toe the line there. Madison Moore picks up and connects for the first break of the game to Jackie Welsh.
What a great grab from the Milwaukee player here. I'm just so impressed with Jackie Welsh. She's grown so much as a player. This is her first time playing professionally, and that's great composure from Welsh on the catch.
And that was a very bold decision by Madison Moore because, it was a closing lane. We had 2 defenders closing in there, and it was an unfortunate turnover for Columbus because it gave the Monarchs that short field turnover. So
they really took advantage. We see the wind is really affecting a lot of throws here. It was amazing for Milwaukee to just show that aggression at the goal line, knowing that this is the kind of energy they want to bring into this game from the jump.
And they're going to be rewarded. They're going to have the Monarchs are going to have the opportunity to pull downwind and force the Columbus offense to work a full 80 yards here. Looks like Margaret Walker's lining up with the PUL. Coach Becky Ladone is giving some last-second adjustments. And we're going to get an opportunity to see kind of more of the defensive unit go upwind here. Yesterday we saw a lot of great give-go action from this handling core of Wu, Zhu, and Yi.
We also saw great balance between these handlers. Penny Wu was able to create a lot of deep opportunities with her impressive throws. Sharon Yi able to work the disc laterally.
Hannah Frank picking up the disc for the Monarchs, swings it over to Margaret Walker. And again, we see the Monarchs out to quick work. And an impressive hand block there by it looks like number 22, Mary Turner, for the Columbus Pride. No, that's not Mary Turner. I apologize. I can't quite. It looks like Emmy Schroeder there with the hand block.
Matched up on number 22, Mila Flowerman.
Yeah. Oh, great bid there by Margaret Walker. Not quite able to get that, but still pressuring Sharon Yee.
And we see the disc pops up a little bit, and Flowerman's able to get it back. Great read on the goal line.
I think that defensive pressure by Margaret Walker made Zoo maybe hesitate a second on the throw, just enough to expose the edge of the disc, and the wind gets under it and pops it up. Really great help defense, though, from behind by Flowerman there to reel in the block. So we get another look at that hand block.
Very clean, stepping back out into space, but then Flowerman gets it right back with a block of her own.
Yeah, Mila Flowerman was a basketball athlete at Carleton College in Northfield, Minnesota. Folks know Carleton College for having such a huge ultimate program, both in the open and women's divisions, having multiple teams in both divisions. Mila was a standout athlete for Syzygy before coming and playing at graduate school at the University of Wisconsin for Belladonna, where she was a captain and helped get Belladonna back to nationals again in 2019.
With fellow teammates Jackie Welsh and Kaylin Rowling.
Yeah. And it looks like we've got the Milwaukee offensive line here out of this timeout. Jenny Corcoran picking up the disc for the Monarchs. Looking to reset the disc, but that high stall scenario gets it to Nolik on the near sideline. Again, the Monarchs are working downwind. Disc gets pushed down, and despite Kayla Strick's best effort there, she wasn't able to get that catch. Sadie Jezierski picks up for the Pride with a fairly short field. It's not, right on the goal line, but it's definitely better than having to work that full 80 yards. Mendoza dumps it back to Sutherland. We're going to see some more of that Columbus give-go handler movement.
Yeah, that was a really nice move. The Milwaukee defense looked to maybe switch on the handlers, and it opened up a lane back toward that break sideline, and the Pride were able to take advantage of it for an easier goal.
Yeah, for folks who are thinking about how can they kind of elevate their game to that next level, I think incorporating handler switches on defense is a good skill that you can practice. You only need a buddy to practice it, but the thing is, you have to really commit. When you call for a switch with your teammate, you really have to trust that your teammate's going to get into that space and really make sure that you're not leaving that break side open for a pass like that. Yeah. Sadie Jezierski, talk about someone who's very experienced, able to recognize that split second later, give that wide open cut for the thrower. Yeah, that communication is so important between the defenders, and if they're not quite on the same page, it really does leave that open lane. Yeah, even though Nolik was right there ready to make a play, she's trusting that the mark's going to contain any throws up to the break side. So right now we're seeing a heat timeout. Yesterday we saw this in the first game with the Monarchs against the Indianapolis Red. While we're taking a few minutes here, let's take a look at the starting lineups for both teams. Milwaukee's offensive unit is really anchored by the handling core of Jenny Corcoran, Margaret Walker, and Alex Hu. They've got some very dynamic cutters in the downfield space who I think are really fast and aggressive cutters, both with their throws and with their legs. Coached by Becky Ladone, who relocated to the upper Midwest again in 2012. And she's been really, really instrumental, I think, in helping strategically with adjustments for the Monarchs. On the side of Columbus defense, we really have been seeing great work from Penny Wu and Sharon Yee and Lucia Wei, as we saw yesterday. Their cutters downfield include Kerner, Pruitt, Javersack, and Schroeder. Especially Javersack, I think, had a great game against Indy Red, really creating some athletic plays in the downfield space. Hope to see more of that today as well.
Their head coach is Ben Murphy.
Yeah, and honestly, another defender who's not necessarily in their starting lineup that I was really impressed with yesterday was Caitlin Derman. Leslie, do you want to tell us a little bit more about Caitlin and kind of her athletic background, how that helps her excel on the ultimate field?
Definitely, yeah. Caitlin Derman is originally from Millville, New Jersey, and now in Fort Lee, New Jersey. Derman went to school at Stockton University and was an NCAA Division III All-American pole vaulter and also a 4-time conference champ in pole vaulting. She's now coaching pole vaulting at Rider University in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. She's only 25. I would say that's pretty cool. So you can look out for Derman in the air, and especially on that defensive line, making some really great plays up in the space.
We saw her yesterday get up. I mean, she left her feet a few different times to save possession on offense, but I think with how swirly the wind is here today, having an athlete like Derman on your D-line, it's going to generate a lot of really cool opportunities for your D-line to convert some breaks.
And the Pride defense is going to get back on the field after this heat timeout, look to create some of those opportunities. They will be pulling with the wind.
I really like this offensive line that the Monarchs are putting on the field. We did look at what their starting offensive line tends to be, but again, right now, the wind is pretty intense, moving from right to left on your screen, so the Monarchs will be going upwind, and they have stacked their offensive line with big throwers. We've got Nolik, Walker, Corcoran, and Bosch. I would say 4 of the biggest throwers on this Monarchs team, all ready to look to continue the disc, into the deep space. The last time we saw Columbus pulling downwind like this, we saw a lot of the defenders were taking away those lanes for you take away those easy passes to the Monarchs cutters, and we saw Madison Moore was able to put the disc up over that second layer to a one-on-one matchup with Ness Kennedy and Libby Lehman, and Ness was able to come down with the disc there. So we see Ness Kennedy and Katie Stanton and Sarah Lipscomb downfield. So we've got some very speedy receivers for these explosive Milwaukee throwers.
Rose Glinka is usually one of those speedy receivers as well, but starting out right now in the handler space, we'll see if she pushes downfield.
Monarchs looking to go deep right away. I think, I'm not surprised maybe to see 3 of the taller cutters on this line with the type of throws that I think we can expect from this offensive unit. Columbus able to get the disc back to Penny Wu in the handler space.
That was Jenny Corcoran, wasn't it?
And just a reminder, you can share your favorite highlights from the weekend, both PUL related or not, by using the hashtag PUL highlights on Twitter. We'd love to see it. We're happy to shout them out on the stream.
Kind of a miscue right there with that inside backhand up to Penny Wu. Nolik able to just get a pretty easy run through block there. Swinging it off the sideline to Corcoran. And it looks like the Columbus Pride are matching up right now downfield. Corcoran looking downfield to Katie Stanton, who's able to box out.
That was a great body from Katie Stanton.
Phenomenal grab.
Wow. Grim Pruitt, I thought, had position for the Pride there, but Katie Stanton read that expertly and attacked the disc, able to bring that down. I love that throw from Corcoran. I think, we weren't necessarily expecting a standstill huck. I think that the Monarchs were looking like they were trying to get their throwers in power position, but Corcoran was super balanced, really dropped that throwing shoulder so she could put the disc out in a space for Stanton.
She was able to put it to a spot where Stanton was able to establish position and maintain it through the catch, and there was really no way for the defender to go up and get it without going through her.
Yeah, that was a great, just experienced read by Stanton, and now we've got the Monarchs and Columbus are trading upwind points. I think I think a lot of folks think that it's actually more difficult to throw upwind. I don't know. I think that the way this wind is, the wind is just pushing those downwind throws down, and it's making it very challenging for both teams' cutters to catch the disc downfield for big gains.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of defense Milwaukee plays here. I would not be surprised if they mixed up some of their zone looks and their person or match defense. Here it looks like they're going to come out with a more traditional zone, though. Maybe trying to push the disc to the sideline where they're going to lock down. And now they're into that match defense, so it was just a transition to get the Pride out of their initial set.
And Libby Lehman confidently working that disc laterally. You can see we've got the wind steady at 8 miles an hour, but we've gotten some pretty big gusts on the field. So if you're seeing some of the throws get pushed down or maybe popped up, it's because the wind is a little swirly down at the field level in the stadium.
Maybe not quite as hot as it was yesterday, but I think the turf still is baking a little bit.
And it looks like an errant throw there from Lehman into some traffic. It looks like there's been a call in the field. Looks like Kara Sieber discussing if there was an impact on the play from
no call.
Pruka.
Disc is live.
Retracts the call.
10 seconds.
Another example of self-officiation where the players can resolve a question between themselves.
So Anna Thorne's picking up the disc on the goal line. One thing that you'll see the Monarchs doing, they're trying to get it through that primary layer of the zone with some quick handler movement. And
I also love the way Taylor here is moving the marks with big pump fakes, really forcing the defense to respond to the variety of throws that she's able to make.
The thing that Taylor's doing, number 25 for the Monarchs, is even though she's making multiple pump fakes, she's not holding onto the disc very long, which is it's a good skill for handlers to develop, especially in the wind. Looks like Columbus is transitioning from that zone defense to matching up downfield. Rose Glinka gets the disc, and Madison Moore attacking deep. Rose Glinka, I think, was trying to avoid overshooting her receiver because, again, she's throwing downwind and took a little bit too much off of the disc here. So now Columbus has another opportunity to score here.
Like you said, Robin, the wind is swirling a bit. It can be hard to read moment to moment exactly how much touch or how much pace to put on a throw.
Yesterday I mentioned how excited I was to see Libby Lehman and Kayla Emmerich working together in the handler space. I think they have very similar pacing in how they use their throws and their legs to get open for resets.
Multiple defenders there that had an opportunity, but Gibbs took advantage of the errant throw.
Again, I think you got to see the wind forces at play there. When Gibbs put that disc up, you can see how the wind really just pushed that disc down and it didn't float out to space to her intended receiver.
But it did roll out of the sideline. This is a really tough spot for the Pride to work out of. We see that disc looking for the receiver downfield, but get pushed maybe out of bounds early. We'll see if it made it back in.
It looks like the disc never came back in on Libby Lehman's throw. So the Monarchs have the shortest of fields to work with here.
Yeah, that was a really strong mark from Austin Pruka.
And we've got the end of the first quarter, but because the disc had turned over prior to the time expiring, the Monarchs had an opportunity there to put in one last break before the end of the first quarter. Just a nice cut there at the front cone. Who's able to hit Anna Thorne to close out the quarter. Let's see what some of the big highlights were from this point. A few misconnection opportunities. It looks like Pruka and Thorne maybe collided with each other on that as the Pride were on the doorstep to score. I really liked how all of the Monarchs defenders downfield were just ready for any disc that popped up over handler resets. That was very heads-up defensive plays. And right now it seems like the Monarchs have been able to turn their defensive intensity into some more breaks.
Yeah, they've been able to create some short field opportunities, like the one there set up by Austin Pruka's mark. Really makes it a lot easier when you give yourself a short field to work with. That comes from great defensive pressure and intensity and heads-up play downfield, like you said.
And honestly, I think what really got them going first was that first big upwind huck by Madison Moore. Madison Moore was able to connect into that deep space with Ness Canada, and honestly, like, I think that was that big momentum push for the Monarchs. Leslie, can you tell us a little bit more about Madison Moore?
Yeah, Madison Moore, this is her first year playing with the PUL, started playing Frisbee at the University of Chicago in 2016, and has been playing the past 3 years with Nemesis out of Chicago. Moore also did gymnastics for 12 years before starting to play ultimate, and you can definitely tell that she has great body control and athleticism when she's on the field. Also a fun fact, she's soon to be a published author with a book coming out on September 15th about the Black history of basketball. So if you're about that, definitely check out Madison's new book coming out next month.
Yeah, and honestly, so she's part of that strong Chicago contingent from the Monarchs, and so we're just excited to see more of her on the field. Again, just so folks understand that the PUL does have a different rule set than some of the other versions of Ultimate that you might be used to seeing. I think it's worth mentioning that in quarters 1 through 3, that there is not a buzzer beater. So whatever team has possession when the clock expires, they have the opportunity to finish out that possession. But at the end of the fourth, there is a buzzer beater. And honestly, with how tight this matchup is right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the game come down to the very final seconds of the game. So, but let's see what happens in the second quarter here. We've got the Monarchs starting out on defense, going downwind. It feels like the Monarchs have been really effective at limiting the handler movement of the Columbus Pride. What do you think, Glenn?
Yeah, they have done a really good job of getting down and creating pressure early, playing heads-up defense on the cutters, and looking for opportunities to clean up any errant passes. There have been a couple with this swirling wind, and it looks like they're coming down again in the zone. They transitioned from the zone to a person defense last time. They won't even have to in this point, as they get a quick turnover from a miscue in the reset space.
Nolik swinging over to Hannah Frank on the sideline.
Another great grab under pressure from Welsh, who's able to push it downfield to Moore. A quick continue there.
Moore finds Boscher right about 7 yards in front of the end zone. Boscher looking for the reset, but looks to try to attack across the field there, and Duffner able to come up with the block. This is the type of offensive pace we've been seeing from the Pride in their previous games, and Kayla Emmerich rips an upwind backhand to Kara Sieber, wide open. And this transition, fast-paced offense, it feels like the Monarchs can't quite contain all of the options. Looks like Kayla Emmerich right now is unguarded, but was able to get a good switch there. And oh no, the Pride receiver looks like she was trying to secure the disc, but was really close to that line. Looks like we have a foul on the throw, potentially.
Timeout.
Oh, it's a timeout has been called before the throw. So again, in the PUL,
timeout, Columbus.
The coaches on the sidelines are in charge of calling the timeouts. Players on the field can call the timeouts, but also the coaches on the sidelines can call timeouts. So that was a good call by the Pride coaching staff to try to set something up. Even though their offensive line was on the field, they have this opportunity to reset and set up an end zone play.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job of attacking in transition here after this block. And then after this big huck, the offense kind of stalled down. I think that it's a really good patient call from the coaching staff to make sure they set up the kind of offense they want on the goal line. The disc is in the center of the field. They're a couple yards out. A great time for this kind of call. And
you can see in the background of that replay, so Coach Ben Murphy, who's wearing that fun rainbow hat in theme with the Pride and their jerseys, running up behind the observer to call that timeout and set something up. Let's see what players they're looking to isolate in space. And yeah, let's take another look just to see what could have happened there. Tiffany Lim breaks around Hannah Frank, and it looks like the receiver, Mary Turner, was going to be out of bounds there. So that was a great use of the timeout by Ben Murphy there. Tiffany Lim gets the disc. The stall has been reset. that's another change in the rules for the Premier Ultimate League, and it looks like the Monarchs have switched the force. They're now forcing backhand.
The Pride recognized right away and attacked up that backhand sideline. That's a very clean possession.
Yeah, Kayla Emmerich able to connect pretty easily there with Tiffany Lim. You know, Tiffany Lim, I think, has been more of the consistent presence in the backfield. A lot of times with the Columbus offense, we see Libby Lehman kind of eject from the handler space and go downfield, but Kayla Emmerich and Tiffany Lim always anchoring the offense in the backfield. And there we got to see some of Tiffany Lim's dynamic athleticism and how she attacks upfield there for that easy give-go opportunity with Emmerich.
It looks like the Monarchs coaches maybe weren't so happy with that call about it being in or out. Maybe might have straddled the line a little bit, walked over it. But they did not look too happy about that.
I think they may have been upset about the timeout call timing.
Yeah.
That could be it too.
Felt like they were going to get the disc there on the out call.
But Columbus able to capitalize, and now we'll get to see the Milwaukee Monarchs working the disc upwind on offense.
Again, some of those big throwers from the Monarchs, including Hu and Walker and Corcoran.
And we see, I would say, you know, 3 of the 4 cutters right now, I would say, are some of the taller players on the team with Sarah Lipscomb, Austin Pruka, and Jacqueline Jarek. Looks like the Monarchs are going to initially look to isolate Kayla Strick in the middle of the field there, but Jenny Corcoran not happy with the passing lanes that she was given. And a run through D there by none other than number 1, Caitlin Derman for the Columbus Pride. And so the Pride just 20 yards or so outside of the end zone. Domenica Sutherland looking to reset the disc, but trying to find Sadie Jezierski. Again, you can see how the disc gets pushed down, and so Jezierski, despite her incredible athleticism, unable to come down with that play.
I think that was good positioning from Sarah Lipscomb as well.
Jenny Corcoran gets the disc in power position, looking deep for Kayla Strick, who was not able to get the disc, and so the Columbus Pride have another opportunity.
And they go right away back to Sadie Jezierski. This time a little too far. It looks like she had to turn around to try to track it.
Yeah, anytime you're trying to shoot the disc deep, you want to keep your receiver's hips going in the direction that the disc is flying, and so when Sadie Jezierski had to turn her hips, it was kind of preventing any opportunity she had to both accelerate towards the disc, to make it a layout play, and to keep her eye on the disc.
We see the Columbus Pride defenders dropping back into the throwing lanes strategically and then pulling back, tightening up on the handlers again. Great pressure there in the downfield space after one of the upline throws went kind of long.
Yeah, great concentration by Kayla Strick there to reel that in with Dom Sutherland's pressure there on that defensive bid. Looks like the Milwaukee Cutters are a little bit far downfield, but Jarek able to connect with Hu to keep the offense moving. Pick was called on the field, so you see all of the players kind of showing you their muscles. That's the call to signal that there's been a pick, which means that a defender has been obstructed from staying on their defensive matchup. You can't use picks here in Ultimate.
Nice inside break from Walker to Lipscomb. Well, the Monarchs are being pretty patient here.
Oh, and Margaret Walker just barely overshoots Austin Pruka. I really like how the disc, as it was flying to Austin Pruka, you see that Austin Pruka was cutting pretty horizontally to the sideline, and as she's reading the disc, changes her line and immediately starts trying to bid more towards the back of the end zone. That's a very advanced skill. I think a lot of folks try to stay on the same line that they're on when they start their cut to complete it, but I really like that Austin Pruka made the read and was able to make a play.
Speaking of plays, a great layout block from Kayla Strick. That was really well set up. A lot of good defense around the reset space from all the Monarchs defenders that really set that up.
It feels like Sadie Jezierski and Dom Sutherland, when the stall gets high, they're really honing in on each other and maybe forcing it a little bit too much to each other, but I think they're on the same wavelength in terms of the same types of creative throwing options they like to make and come down with.
Jarek there tries to pick up an errant throw that was intended, I think, for Hu.
And I think Hu might be calling an injury. It looked like the disc was intended on that swing for Alex Hu, number 2 on the Monarchs. But
we do have an injury call.
You could kind of see she took a few aggressive steps towards the disc and kind of pulled up, and maybe she could have an injury. I know that yesterday she didn't play because she had some hamstring issues. That's unfortunate for Milwaukee. Again, you can kind of see her pull up there and immediately look to call the injury. But wow, what a great attempt by Jacqueline Jarek. Dom Sutherland picks up the disc, looking for a big huck downfield. That was a aggressive look, but I think that, she was trying to give her receiver an opportunity. It looked like her receiver kind of held up a little bit. If she would have kept running into the deep space, it could have had a chance to connect there.
Yeah, you start to wonder whether this is a strategic decision by the Columbus Pride offense or by Coach Ben Murphy to really try and attack early and often. And if that's the case, you would expect the receivers to be looking for those deep shots.
Looks like we have another call in the field. Looks like Caitlin Derman feels like she didn't have an opportunity to jump and attack the disc in the air. A little bit of contact from Austin Pruka.
Okay.
Let's go down to the field to the observers.
Contest, no contest.
Yeah, even if it's incidental, okay, because I could have made a play on it, but because
I got pushed over and felt like I could have made a play too. That's what I'm saying too. Like, it was a lot of bodies.
Okay, so do we want to come to the observer? Okay, my observer ruling, she was pushed through, so no foul. It's staying here.
And Patty Driscoll making a ruling on the field there. It sounds like there was some bodying by both players. Obviously, the disc popped up, and there were a lot more players involved in the play than anticipated, but Kayla Strick coming down with it and keeping the Milwaukee offensive possession alive.
Nice find from Strick there to get the disc over to Lipscomb, who continues. Nice grab from Pruka as well. Some tight windows here. But
and you can see the disc kind of floating up in the air, but the Monarchs,
that
Corcoran,
was so sick.
We love to see it.
Corcoran was really feeling it. Wow, I thought when the disc went up, I was like, oh my goodness, who's she throwing to? She's throwing to the 2 open receivers to the back of the end zone for the Monarchs. I can tell Corcoran plays a good amount of Goaltimate, and if she doesn't, I would love to play some Goaltimate with her in the offseason.
Not against her. That was the perfect edge on that forehand. Ripped it right in the receiver, right in the chest. A perfect throw. And
Jarek was just sitting there waiting, so she gets up, catches the disc, collects herself, and Jarek's just right there, wide open. I love that Jarek is going for the quick layup there. Again, huge Chicago Sky fan. I think she's just trying to do her own personal Diamond to Shields. I know Diamond to Shields is her favorite player. So, Diamond, if you're watching, would love to hear you tweet at the Premier Ultimate League. Or maybe you're prepping for a game today. I don't know.
It is WNBA Sunday.
It is. A lot of the fans today, including me up in the booth, I guess I'm a fan too. We're all rocking our WNBA jerseys. Assistant coach of the Indianapolis Red Jackie Lai sporting a Tierra McGowan jersey down there in the fans. And then I also saw a Kennedy Carter jersey out in the fans as well. So seeing some WNBA love. But we're not here to watch basketball today. We are here to watch some incredible ultimate despite some swirly wind conditions. Looks like there's a conference right now between the observers in green and the coaches down on the field.
We do have also quite a big crowd here at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, which we love to see it, especially after a year, stuck inside. And we also want to thank VC, who's the official uniform sponsor of the Milwaukee Monarchs and the entire Premier Ultimate League. All of the PUL teams have their own custom merchandise stores on the VC website, so be sure to visit vcultimate.com to get official Monarchs jerseys, their super sick hats, and more. We also want to thank Discraft for that opening pull. They are official sponsor of Milwaukee Monarchs and the PUL.
So with about 6 minutes left here in the first half, Robin, sounds like we're going to take a break and come back after this heat timeout for more action at Hart Park in the Premier Ultimate League Midwest Championships.
And welcome back to Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. We've got the final Premier Ultimate League championship game between the Milwaukee Monarchs and the Columbus Pride. Monarchs are up 5-2 right now, and it's been, I would say, a slugfest between both teams, trying to attack with some big yardage gain throws. Seems like both teams are trying to avoid short yard turnovers here. Glenn, are you surprised with how this game's going so far?
I'll tell you what I'm not surprised about, Robin. The way that both teams are able to attack in the deep space. We knew from yesterday that there were a lot of athletes on both of these teams ready to make plays today. The swirling wind has definitely caused some challenges for reading the disc on some of those big throws, but we see some impressive catches nonetheless. And I think that there might be some adjustments as we head into this, the last 6 minutes of the first half, maybe into the second half. What would you expect these defensive adjustments to be from both teams?
You know, I think that both teams are doing a good job of limiting the reset opportunities by trapping throwers on the sideline and making it difficult for resets to get open. I think that right now it's not necessarily defensive adjustments we need to see. I want to see some offensive adjustments. Players maybe taking a second to set themselves on their throws to avoid those unforced mistakes. I think that, you know, sometimes we're seeing players holding on to the disc too long and unable to keep the disc moving. I think right now Columbus is doing a good job of using both sides of the fields to attack, but the Milwaukee defensive pressure is definitely there, making everything a challenge.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to hold this disc on the far sideline, creating that trap with the mark. And then two other players trying to limit the passes downfield. This is maybe a more traditional zone look from the Monarchs. They're forcing Columbus to make a lot of passes, but Columbus is remaining patient and looking for those opportunities to spread the field wide.
And the Columbus Pride able to get the Monarchs out of that zone. Monarchs matching up. Mackenzie Carpenter right now, number 34 for the Monarchs, has a tough defensive assignment in number 2, Libby Lehman on the Pride. You can see Lehman with the yellow hat there on the field. She's definitely one of the elite throwers in the women's game, I would say, in the Midwest.
We see an example of it right there, putting that disc to the perfect spot. Sounds like there might have been a call before the pass.
Another timeout from the coaching staff on the Pride. Again, you can see the coaches running up behind the observers, making a call. That time it was maybe a bit unfortunate because Lehman did have something developing right in front of her, but Coach Ben Murphy wanting to take the time to set something up. The Monarchs have an opportunity to pick their defensive assignments and really clamp down on the mark there.
You know, I understand the coaching staff for the Pride seeing that as a very congested situation, but I am really impressed with Libby Lehman's intentionality with that throwing placement. I think it was a great pass, well executed, even though the window was small.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, in a high stall situation, I don't think there's anyone on the Pride that I'd rather have the disc in their hands. I think that Libby Lehman, you know, unfortunately, because she went to a smaller school, I think she did go to Case Western Reserve in Cleveland, Ohio. Fighting Gobies, a lot of Case Western alums on both teams, actually. But she's been making great decisions, great executions for years, and I think I'm most excited to see everyone get the opportunity to see those skills on display today.
What they do get with that timeout call is a new count. Lehman's able to use it to center the disc and then get wide open back, even past a laying out defender. Good pressure there from the Monarchs, but couldn't stop the goal.
Yeah, great defensive effort there by Mackenzie Carpenter, just bidding next to Libby Lehman there, trying to prevent that score, but Lehman gets low and focuses in to reel the disc in, secure it with two hands, and get the hold there for the Columbus Pride.
And that was even on the break side. So great effort from Carpenter.
Yeah, great play. I'm excited to see that in the highlight package later.
Agreed. And that pulls the Pride within 2. Again, they have the wind at their backs again.
But we've seen that the Monarchs have had no problem attacking with big throws going upwind. Honestly, it's when the Columbus Pride defenders are able to clamp down near the end zone and force the Monarchs to use a lot of resets. That's where we're seeing a lot of problems in this Milwaukee Monarch offense.
Looks like a new lineup as well. Some of the same pieces we've seen going in this direction. Big throwers, Walker and Corcoran. Mila Flowerman is out there as one of the other taller receivers on this team.
And again, Flowerman, I think, is one of the real elite vertical receivers for the Monarchs.
Errant throw there, but Strick's able to pick it up.
Yeah, no call. I think that everyone was just checking in to make sure that everybody was in control of their body.
Jarrett got loose there in the deep space, but Walker communicated saying, you're a little bit too far for me to put it in this direction right now. High percentage.
You can see the Milwaukee offense taking turns isolating cutters in space right now in the middle of the field.
I do think they're starting out a little bit deep to make that a viable high percentage look, though.
Yeah.
Here, though, Walker's going to rip a backhand. Looks like the defender maybe got a piece of it.
Yeah, Penny Wu definitely got her hand in the way there. Ness candidate unable to make the adjustment and reel in the catch. I think this is the first time we're going to see Penny Wu pick up the disc with going downwind, and not surprised to see her going deep. Wow, number 20 for the Columbus Pride, Charlotte Kerner. What a great effort there to try to get that disc. I thought Strick was totally in position, and Kerner was able to make multiple attempts there.
It's also Charlotte Kerner's birthday today.
Happy birthday to Charlotte Kerner. Love to see him make a big highlight play. What better way to celebrate than getting an awesome play on the championship stream. Corcoran going deep to Ness Canaday. Iris Javersack, I think, went up and made Canaday attack the disc maybe earlier than she wanted to. And sometimes as a defender, when you're trying to make a ground coming from behind on a huck like that, you're just trying to force your offensive player to go up maybe a little bit earlier in a different space than they want to. The Columbus Pride look like there's some miscommunication, but Javersack able to give an option for that high stall situation.
Yeah, there was great defense there from Marge Walker, who is staying pretty tight to Jenny Wu. Very talented handler.
Yeah, we haven't seen a single one of those high release flicks yet from Wu.
Now Walker calling a pick, saying she was obstructed by the other Pride cutter.
And so Marge Walker was able to make up her distance and essentially occupy the space she would have been had there been no obstruction.
So coming at 5.
Hattie Driscoll telling the players on the field what the stall count is. Iris Javersack not able to come down with the disc, and Milwaukee has another opportunity.
That was a nice job from Ness Canaday, getting in and contesting that pass. We're going to get a timeout call from the Monarchs. They're going to try to sub on some offense and take advantage of this break opportunity. Or a hold opportunity.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see Georgia Boscher maybe here picking up the disc. I can't think of a thrower that I would rather give a fresh stall count to, some challenging wind conditions, and fresh receivers downfield. Georgia Boscher's the person I would pick.
Yeah, they have a lot of options too.
Yeah, it's let's see another look at that last turnover. Javersack getting up, but just unable to secure the disc. Again, great defensive pressure there from Ness Canaday for the Monarchs.
I think you can really see there, you don't always have to get a hand on the disc. Just by being close and really putting your body near where that pass is coming, this gets you able to disrupt it.
So we see the Monarchs right now setting up with no reset and kind of a vertical stack. We saw a few different play call opportunities from the same situation for the Monarchs. I wouldn't be surprised to see kind of like a zipper where folks are coming off the front of the stack there. Exactly what happens. Nola toes the line, gets the disc, and Boscher hits the deck. I love when I get to see Georgia Boscher cut. I think a lot of folks think because of how talented of a thrower she is, they expect her to be in the backfield, but when she's able to go to work in space like she is right now, that's a dream come true for a team. And you see Sadie Jezierski getting the Georgia Bosher matchup. That is a Team USA matchup right there. And it looks like Ness Canada slipped a little bit, and maybe Georgia's throw turned over, so it didn't get an opportunity to connect. I'm excited to see what happens now that Columbus has the disc. I want to see this Jezierski-Bosher matchup.
They've got about 30 seconds, but as long as they maintain possession, they can keep working and try to score, even if the clock runs out, because it's one of the first 3 quarters of the game.
And we saw Derman there with that initiating cut for the Pride. And gets up. Talk about some pole vaulting athleticism there. Wow, she gets up big to
fantastic.
Get that grab.
And they've got 10 seconds left with this clock.
But again, they can take as long as they want, so long as they maintain possession of the disc. Sadie Jezierski's unguarded. And the clock is expired, so again, Columbus has the opportunity to just finish out this possession. Doing some poaching and switching off the disc. And Jezierski, looking to connect with Derman. Derman's not able to reel it in. I think she had too many variables there. She had to focus on trying to catch the disc, stay in bounds, and deal with the defensive pressure from Mule Flowerman.
Yeah, that was a great job for Flowerman to get her head up, take those hard steps toward where that disc was falling.
And I love, let's get another look at that catch. I mean, we get to see just how athletic Caitlin Derman is there, making a great grab. And Sadie Jezierski's like, you know what? She's feeling it right now. I want to give her an opportunity to really light up. And I think that's just an opportunity where a creative thrower who has that one-on-one matchup in space is like, let's try to hit someone who's really hot right now. Wasn't able to connect, but it's only a 2-point game. There's going to be plenty more opportunities for Columbus to work on that deficit.
Yeah, a bit lower scoring today. Unsurprising given the wind conditions. It looks like we're going to take a quick look at a few highlights before going to an interview.
So get another look at that hand block from Corinne Pruitt in the first quarter. Some big throws by both teams and great reads by some athletic receivers. Let's go down to Leslie Bowie on the field with Coach Becky Ladone. As we're setting up that interview, we're gonna take a few minutes. We'll see you back in a couple.
Well, at first I was somewhat nervous. I had expectations, actually thinking, oh, I'm going to go mentor someone just like me, a black female. And then when I met Bertha, I was like, oh my God, she's so wonderful. And then just talking to her, and I know she was nervous as well.
I was always anxious about who was going to be there. And like her, I thought it was going to be someone just like me, but it wasn't. And then I wanted to be part of Mentor 2.0 because being first generation, I don't have like a parent or like a cousin or someone that I can like talk to about going to college or what's the process. And I feel like through Mentor 2.0, it has really like helped me organize myself and like set myself up to success, especially to like go to college and like stay in college and go through the process.
I'll reflect back to mentors really defending the potential in others.
You've been a very like big role model in my life. The thing that I'm most appreciative is the connection that we have, because I feel like I can't really talk to someone else about like school or what I should do, or if I should be scared to like ask a professor for some help or something. And I feel like you have really like made me open up to the world and like not being afraid of what other people are going to say about me.
To see you be successful is what gratifies me and what I really feel good about.
And welcome back to Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, home of the Milwaukee Monarchs for the Midwestern Regional Championship of the Premier Ultimate League. Right now, the Monarchs are up 5-3, and we're going to hear from head coach Becky Ladone on the field with Leslie Bowie.
Hi there, PUL fans. My name is Leslie Boy, and I'm down on the field with Milwaukee Monarchs coach Becky Ladone. Becky, great first half. A lot tighter of a match than we have seen thus far this weekend. What are some things that you think the Monarchs are doing really well?
I think we made some pretty good adjustments to our defensive pressure based on, we had the luxury of watching the Columbus Pride play Indy last night. So we're doing great in our marks. We are clamping down on their handlers, making them make a lot of passes, and just generally causing some havoc out there. So I'm really proud of our team's defense.
Definitely. And what are some of those, maybe any defensive or offensive adjustments you're thinking that you might make for the second half for people to watch out for?
I just think we got to acknowledge the wind a little bit more. We are, you can tell we're really excited out there. We really want to score goals, and so some of the passes are rushed. I think Columbus is playing some pretty good D2, and that's why some of our throws are forced or maybe not exactly what we want to do or just not exactly on the mark. So I think we just got to sort of take a breath before we throw, and I'm excited for the second half.
Yeah, definitely. Focusing back on those fundamentals is always a great thing. Becky, best of luck in the second half.
Great. Thanks, Leslie. Thanks, guys.
All right, and we'll send it back to the booth.
Thanks, Leslie. And Becky was talking about some of the adjustments we're looking to see out of halftime right now. We've got not only some wind to contend with, but the rain's coming back in Wauwatosa. We're hoping that by the time halftime wraps up here that the rain and the storms will be past and hopefully not impacting our games today. But in the meantime, make sure that you come back after halftime ready to take a quick halftime break, but come back. We're going to have another great half of Ultimate between the Monarchs and the Pride. Stay tuned.
Sure, you're in the league, but until you can start actually signing players, you're not going to be competitive with anybody.
My name's Rachel Heva. I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm from Cincinnati. Hi, my name is Jen Wu, and I'm from Chicago. I'm ready.
success through the drama. H is for the hurt, but it's all for the honor. A is for my attitude, working through the patience. Money comes and goes, the M is for motivation. Gotta stay consistent, the P is to persevere. The I is for integrity, innovative career. The O is optimistic, open and never shut. And the N is necessary, cause I'm never giving up. See, they ask me how I did it, I just did it from the heart. Crushing the competition, been doing it from the start. They say that every champion is all about his principles.
The opportunity to play in a women's professional league is something that I've always dreamed about, being able to be a professional athlete, and this is just an amazing opportunity to hang out with a whole bunch of really awesome women.
And welcome back to Wauwatosa, Wisconsin at Hart Park, home of the Milwaukee Monarchs, where they are currently up 5-3 against the Columbus Pride. I'm about to start the second half, but one thing we wanted to highlight is I think both teams have a lot of really dynamic folks on and off the field. One player we haven't been able to talk a lot about because, unfortunately, she is hurt right now for the Monarchs is Caitlin Rowling. Leslie, you want to tell us a little bit about Caitlin?
Yeah, Caitlin, an amazing person. She is one of the co-captains of the Milwaukee Monarchs this year. She was born and raised in Madison, Wisconsin. Rowling started playing Ultimate about 6 years ago in Summer League MUFA in Madison. Since then, Rowling's gone on to play with the University of Wisconsin Belladonna for 5 years, Noise, and is now out in Seattle with BFG. She's a super dynamic cutter with great continuation throws that we're really missing on the field today. But Rowling also does a lot of work around about getting out the vote and increasing civic engagement in the community. If you're interested in following more of what she does, you can follow her on Twitter at Caitlin Rowling.
Thanks, Leslie. So right now we've got Milwaukee working it up, not only upwind, but in some rainy conditions. And the offense really looks like it's clicking quite well for the Monarchs. However, Stricka forced with a high stall situation, and Penny Wu making the block. And now the rain's really coming down. Penny Wu looks to wind up, but I think the increased precipitation has made her think otherwise, and looks like the Pride's working it all the way up the near sideline. I like right now that the Pride is trying to get easy looks for gaining. Penny Wu taking a shot downfield.
Broken up by Strick. That's a great play there.
Yeah, Charlotte Kerner not quite able to get it on the second attempt. Again, you can really see the rain coming down. It is very intense right now. Thankfully, no lightning yet. So let's hope that we can continue to watch the rest of this game play out.
Really?
Nolik's picking up the disc. She's got 80 yards to go, battling a great mark and also some really intense rain. Nolik puts it up, and Jarek and Lipscomb trying to read the disc.
Honestly, probably just looking up and getting a bunch of water in their face.
Yeah. Penny Wu swings it off to Sharon Yee. That around. Great grab by Kerner there to keep the play alive for the Pride. I love that every time the offensive momentum stalls for the Pride, they're just looking to attack that opposite sideline. The rain slowed down, but it's still falling down on the field at Hart Park. Corcoran working it around to that opposite sideline. Jarek looking to go deep for Kayla Strick, who boxes out her defender and able to clap catch that in the end zone. She didn't have to leave her feet because she did such a great job of boxing out Emmy Schroeder in the end zone. I thought Schroeder, again, had position, and Strick was able to keep her out of the play. Glenn,
yeah,
what do you think?
I think Schroeder also had a big height advantage there, but we see the way that Strick is able to really get low, and establish her body positioning, completely sealing out the defender. That's just really, really experienced play right there.
And you get to see that big celebration, Lipscomb and Strick hugging it out under the rain here at Hart Park. Again, the conditions here in Wauwatosa right now, they're not easy for the players right now. having to contend against some really great defensive players. Got the wind, you got the rain. Thankfully, though, I think the temperatures dropped maybe a little bit, so that's one positive, I guess, for the players. They're able to cool off a little bit with this this intense precipitation on the field.
Also, you can see when the shot was on the lineup there, lots of smiles out there. Honestly, just a fun weekend overall, and we love to see. That's what Ultimate is about. It's about having a lot of fun.
It looks like we've got an offsides call. I can't tell who on the Monarchs was offsides when the pull went up, but the Columbus Pride was able to get the disc in the middle of the field there. Libby Lehman picking it up and starting this Columbus offensive possession.
We see the same traditional cup coming from the Monarchs. We'll be curious to see if they transition back into a match defense as they have done the last couple points they played this style, usually around midfield. But here they're trying to keep the disc trapped on the sideline, and an errant pass.
Yeah, Cara Sieber tried to keep it up, but unable to get both hands on that disc. You can see how wet the disc is. Hannah Frank advancing it up to Jackie Welsh, and the disc was really wobbling. Must be very difficult to get a good grip on the disc.
Nice secure reset option from Georgia Basha there, who's able to find an inside space to Ness Canaday.
Georgia Basha looking for the swing, but Cara Sieber shutting down that option to Hannah Frank.
Well tracked by Austin Pruka, but she bobbles it too. I think the rain is really affecting these catches, Robin.
Yeah, and I could see Austin checking her feet to see if she was in. It's really tough to get both hands on the disc right now. But you can tell even really sure-handed receivers like Sieber and Pruka unable to get both of their hands on the disc securely. Limbs trapped on the disc right now, or on the sideline, but able to swing it off to her teammate.
With the 3-point lead, the Monarchs are probably feeling content to play a lot of zone here, force the Pride to take a lot of passes and take their time working it up the field, especially in these conditions. That helps burn a lot of the clock.
And Columbus just working it from sideline to sideline, looking to gain something up wide on the side there, but up until that pass, really able to limit the options, and Libby Lehman not able to connect on the sideline. Sure, combination of wet disc and wind. Hannah Frank picks up the disc for the Monarchs.
Should probably look to center pretty quickly here.
We're seeing that zipper play again.
Yep, read perfectly by the Pride defense, but it looks like the Monarchs maybe have called a timeout ahead of that pass. We've seen the coaching staff from both teams do really well today.
Emily Barrett not happy because she had read that play expertly, got the catch block, and was able to anticipate that pass to Georgia Bosher, steps right into the passing lane, but unhappy that the Milwaukee coaching staff was able to get that timeout called before the throw went up.
Yeah, you can bet that the Pride were thinking about having seen that same zipper play a couple times yesterday and already earlier in this game.
Just a reminder that Glenn, Leslie, and I are on Twitter. We're checking, looking to engage with all y'all watching at home. So if you have any shout-outs, any questions you'd like us to chat about, you can do so by finding our Twitter handles on the Premier Ultimate League's Twitter feed right now. They've been retweeting us all day. We did get one shout-out from Kath Radcliffe to her sister-in-law, who is showing up and doing work today for the Columbus Pride, Janine Walker, number 9. Shout out to you. She's right now in the reset space playing defense on Jenny Corcoran, shutting down that option. So great work, Janine.
Very nice inside-out flick from Nolik there. Late stall, was able to find Marge Walker in stride. That's a tight spot. She was able to work through it.
And Ness Canaday trying to get out into space to reel in that disc.
Real tough with one hand, trying to grab a wide disc, especially with this rain.
And Columbus Pride looking to attack for a break opportunity here. Sutherland finds Mendoza, for the reset. And once this Columbus Pride offense gets moving and able to string a few passes together, they're very effective at keeping that momentum. Oh, that was definitely a wet disc turnover from Walker there.
Yeah, it can be just so difficult to maintain the friction you need between your fingertips and the disc once it gets this wet.
And Corcoran able to work it up to Madison Moore, but again, I mean, it's very obvious how the conditions are impacting what are typically easy catches and throws for these athletes on the field today. And Lipscomb knocking the disc down to the ground. Margaret Walker will looking to pick up the disc towards the far sideline. Not liking what she sees downfield and elects to swing it off the line to Sarah Nolik.
Yeah, you feel like one adjustment these teams might make is look for opportunities to use their backhands more, because that is a little bit easier to get the kind of friction on the disc you need with more fingers along the rim. It looks like they're being pretty effective here. Walker's able to put up a great backhand out in space in front of Katie Stanton, but excellent defense there from Derman.
Yeah.
She really exploded through that space and established early position.
Yeah, she was able to see that huck go up from Marge Walker. Obviously, the backhands, although they're more sure to be able to get the grip that they need, they are a longer throw. They take a lot longer to wind up. Walker able to get the disc back for the Monarchs. About 15 yards out from the end zone. Nolik picks up and looks for Jenny Corcoran. Some give-go action.
Using a backhand on the forehand sideline twice in a row here. And that pass is just a little bit too low and outside.
I do like how the Monarch handlers are able to kind of call an audible, see the switch downfield from the Columbus Pride, and able to provide an alternative option to get the disc back, but it hasn't been connecting. Nolik reading that swing pass off the sideline, looking to go to work with Margaret Walker in the Milwaukee transition offense here. You see that the throwers are all taking that extra second to get a good grip on the disc and try to watch every disc into their hands. It's hard because the throwers right now, they're having to grip the disc really hard, and they have to put a good pace on the disc because it is windy. The precipitation's very hard right now, so they have to put a lot of snap on those throws, but it makes it really difficult to catch a very hard-thrown disc in this type of rain. And Ben Murphy calling a timeout for the Pride, probably looking to get some fresh legs on the field.
Yeah, it's already been a long point, a lot of clock wound down here, which is beneficial to the Monarchs given the state of the game right now. About 3.5 to play. Monarchs up 3, and still almost a full field for the Pride to work it out.
And you can really see in the background of all of these shots, you can see how hard the rain is coming down on the track that's surrounding this turf field. But even though the rain's coming down super hard right now, we've got a lot of really good fan energy in the house, really trying to help keep the energy on the field. I am impressed at how hard all of the athletes are still pushing themselves, even when the points are getting longer.
Yeah, fantastic perseverance here.
You can see the fans all wearing their rain gear. Got a lot of umbrellas, and you got the hype squad down on the field. Looks like their wings got a little bit saturated. There was a lot of folks on the internet loving the Monarchs hype squad. Got 3 butterflies down at the field, but I think it's a little bit too wet for butterfly wings today.
Ooh, and that disc was well tracked, but she didn't quite pay attention to her feet.
Yeah, Mary Turner, despite having maybe the coolest cleats out of all of the athletes this weekend, unable to keep her feet in bounds. That's okay. A lot of buzz on Twitter about Mary Turner's cleats. You can see all of the resets kind of slipping around. Corcoran not quite in the end zone. And it's too wet to hold on to, even though she had a couple open options back into the center of the field. Libby Lehman picks up the disc and able to find Cara Sieber on the sideline. Monarchs defenders are tightening up downfield.
Yeah, that was a great job from Jarek to really or was that Jarek? To prevent the continuation pass on the mark.
This quarter, this is only the second point of the third quarter. A lot of clock getting eaten up despite, you know, some really great energy and effort here. But the conditions are really challenging for these athletes today.
A pick is going to bring the disc back. That looked like
I probably can't help. So you guys figure it out. It makes sense.
And the observer, I
right,
appreciate when the observers don't have perspective on the play. You know, they really do encourage the players to work it out amongst themselves. They don't try to make an active referee-type call if they didn't have perspective, and I appreciate that as a player.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
And Kayla Emmerich ripping a backhand.
That was a fantastic throw all the way across the field, and a great way to grind out a very long point to get the Pride back into this upwind end zone.
And, you know, Glenn, you were talking about earlier how it's easier to throw those backhands and find the ridges on the disc so that you can put that disc with a nice flat edge so it's easier for your receiver to clap catch there. I really like that that Kayla Emmerich was able to find an opportunity to put the disc with pace and into space for her receiver rather than trying to do something with edge. We've seen a lot of throwers electing to put, you know, that really hard edge for some blade throws when those are really hard to catch right now. So great decision and even better execution by Kayla Emmerich.
Yeah, and you have to think that that's a successful timeout call from Columbus, but at the same time, kind of a win for the Monarchs to burn off so much clock in that second point of this third quarter. There's only 2 minutes left. They're going to be able to try to work it up again. It looks like the rain is starting to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, if we look to the west behind the stadium right now, there is some blue skies with some clouds, so hopefully we'll see a break to these conditions soon. We do have a shout out on Twitter from Ken Harris, who's watching this game all the way from Brussels, Belgium. He's a big Kayla Strick fan, so he'll be cheering for number 44. But
Georgia Bosher goes up really aggressively, trying to find Jarek. That was a good look. It faded away a little bit toward the sideline there.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see some of those Bosher backhands, you know, in the rest of the game.
I wouldn't bet against it. Ooh, look, miscommunication, the reset space. The Monarchs are going to have a short field about 15 yards out.
Nolik picks up for the Monarchs, looking for Georgia Bosher, but unable to hold on to it, and so Columbus is looking to go down. A confident backhand huck from Wu. She's got two receivers downfield, and Charlotte Kerner reels it in and finds Iris Javersack for the quick transition score.
Yeah, Javersack was able to really drive Georgia Bosher toward that other sideline, change direction quickly, and set up an easy goal.
Yeah, I hope we get another shot of that Penny Wu huck. I think one thing you see is that Penny Wu steps out wide, but still stays very upright. I think a lot of folks, when they look to huck a big backhand, they step very forward, but she's able to get the disc around her mark because she steps out wide and kind of puts a big bend on that throw, leading Kerner into space. Kerner was unguarded, so she was able to kind of float it up and let Kerner really secure the disc there. Georgia Bosher tried to stop that continuation, but Javersack was in a pretty easy to hit space on the end zone. And so we've got just over a minute left in the third quarter, and you know, it was a 3-point game, and Columbus has been able to cut it into one. So the Monarchs right now, this is a really important point for them. We know that based on the end of quarter rules, that whatever team has possession of the disc at the end of the quarter, when the clock expires, gets to maintain and finish out that possession. If the Monarchs are not able to score this point, it's going to be a very, very different narrative in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, this is when you start to see players really lock down, and you see a lot of quick movement here, maybe some contact in that pass to Corcoran.
Let's go down to the field, and we've got Patty Driscoll mic'd up for this conversation.
Ball contest, throw.
contested foul, and the disc will go back to Nolik. Here what the stall count's coming in on. Looks like it's coming in on 3. So Nolik will have 7 seconds to find a good option.
Aaron McCann on that mark.
Makes it difficult for Madison Moore, and now the Pride are looking to strike. We've got 20 seconds left in the quarter, and let's see who's got possession when the clock expires. It looks like the Monarchs are still going to have an opportunity here. Corcoran going to pick up the disc with under 10 seconds.
And as long as they maintain possession here, even as this clock is expiring now, they will be able to score.
You know, if you're the Monarchs right now, you're feeling like you've got an opportunity here, but a great mark there by Eileen Duffner on Hannah Frank, able to block that continuation, and we've got a 1-point game heading into the 4th quarter. This is the closest game we've seen all weekend here. Let's get another look at that. Great mark by Duffner.
Yeah, really looking to stop those backhands.
Yeah, super clean. They really want to, the Columbus Pride defenders are really forcing the throwers to use that forehand, because we've seen right now with how saturated the field is, how wet everything is, those flicks are really hard to make completions with.
And every time the disc hits the turf, it gets wet again. So the thrower that's picking it up doesn't even have time to dry it off because their jerseys are soaked as well.
And for those of you who are wondering, yes, there are 2 Duffners on the Columbus Pride. Number 17 is Caitlin Duffner, and her sister Eileen just made that block. It has to be really fun to get the opportunity to play with a sibling in a professional game. I've never had that opportunity. I would love to hear how much fun they're having. Typically they're on, you know, different teams. Eileen's been playing with Nemesis for a few years now, and Caitlin lives in Ohio. She's played with rivals. She's played with the Columbus Cocktails. She's played more mixed, I would say, in recent years. So this is a cool opportunity for them to get to play together. Speaking of playing, Glenn, we've got 1 more quarter left. What are you expecting to see? I mean, this is a very different game than we saw at the beginning of the 3rd quarter.
That's true. After that brief deluge, it looks like the wind has calmed down a little bit. The rain has rolled through, and the field will still be pretty moist, but not so much precipitation. So we can expect the teams to try to make some adjustments, still having to put a lot of grip into their throws, and at the same time, I think they'll be able to attack downfield a little more and try to remain patient through the handler sets.
You know, I think that both teams have made some crucial adjustments defensively. One thing that, again, I would love to see some more of is I think you talked about this, seeing more of those backhands and trying to time some big yardage gaining throws from big backhand hucks out to space.
I think as the rain and wind die down, though, continuing to attack with the receivers on that backhand side can open up some options with the resets on the flick side if the marks start to try to step over and disrupt the backhand throws. It'll open up the break side space.
And we see the Monarchs hype squad trying to keep the crowd enthusiastically supporting the athletes on the field. Big shout out to the Monarchs for having, I think, the best mascots I've seen in professional ultimate.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And Boscher winds up for a big upwind pull here. Really good hang time on that pull, allowing the Monarch defenders to get down and pressure that first pass. Lim looking for a quick reset there.
Lim's really going to work.
And again, I think yesterday Lim stayed in the backfield a lot more for the Pride. And I love how the Pride has adjusted their offense to take advantage of who's hot right now. And Lim's been really just so sure-handed in the backfield for the Columbus Pride throughout these really challenging conditions this second half. And look at that around break backhand leading Libby Lehman into space. Oh, wow. Got her mark to totally look. Good shutdown defense, but Lehman's able to find Cara Sieber on that open sideline. Georgia Boscher took her eyes off Sieber just for a second, and Lehman was able to connect on that nice flick throw out to space. I love that the throwers are taking big advantage of the opportunity to throw some of these flicks now that the rain has stopped.
That was also a huge save by number 2, Mary Turner, to keep that disc alive.
Yeah, and now it's a tie game.
Totally different narrative than at halftime. The Monarchs had that cushion, and right now the Monarchs need to respond here.
Yeah, it goes to show the tenacity of this Columbus Pride team. They've done a really good job of adjusting to the conditions and continuing to fight. And we'll have to see the Monarchs do the same kind of adjusting in order to regain their lead here.
And I know that the Monarchs they have some injuries, and so their handler rotation is a lot smaller, I think, than the Columbus Pride. In this game, we're seeing Sarah Nolik play maybe her 4th or 5th consecutive point for the Monarchs. She's playing excellent, but at some point, you know, you wonder if she needs to rest her legs a bit. And the Monarchs are really focusing on trying to use those big throws, and Nolik is a huge part of that offense.
It's a great cut from Strick. She was able to drive her defender under and open up that downfield space, but second cutter in the space with a defender meant she had to go up early, and she wasn't quite able to bring that disc in.
Mendoza with the disc on the near sideline. I love that there was no immediate continuation. Mendoza looks to reset the disc. Walker unable to hold on to that reset, and so the Monarchs have another opportunity 20 yards out of their own end zone.
Tight reset cut there from Nolik, but is able to find Stanton across the field, who goes to Pruka with a great grab, and she dips it right over, back to Corcoran. That's a nice clean possession.
Yeah, Corcoran goes up the line, does not get the give-go. Nolik swings it back to the middle, and Corcoran goes from the upline space all the way around the back of the stack and loses her defender wide open for that option.
Yeah, Strick had to go up really early for this, as there are other players in the area, and Corcoran was not able to put the disc further out toward the end zone either because of that.
So Corcoran's off. Yeah, Corcoran goes off to the races, loses her defender in a switch. Pruka's not in the end zone, but Corcoran, just true hustle, heads up play, realizing she doesn't have a defender, and goes and gets an easy option for the Monarchs. That was a big hold for the Monarchs.
Huge.
So we get another look at the Columbus offensive line. Now that the rain has stopped, you know, I wouldn't be surprised that we see some more forehands out into space. We saw that Kayla Emmerich backhand that was pretty crucial in getting some momentum for the Pride in the last quarter. But I know that Libby Lehman's got that really strong forehand flick, puck out into space. They isolate Duffner in space, reset it back to Kayla Emmerich. And Libby Lehman getting the disc in power position with Duffner going.
There's that flick forehand.
And Duffner able to run it down. Was she inbounds? The observer signals in. She was able to keep her feet in there. And we still have a tied game. What a great cut by Duffner. Pushes her defender under, gets her to change her hips, and is able to create a huge buffer for Libby Lehman to just put a flick flat into space. When you see Libby Lehman get power position and you're a cutter downfield, you better take off.
Yeah, and I think Lehman set herself up really well there with a quick jab step toward the break side that really forced Candidate to bite, and Lehman was able to find that upline space past the momentum of the defender.
And on that replay, I think that was a really excellent call by the observer, signaling that she was inbounds. You know, Duffner did slide into the sideline there, but her first point of contact when she secured the disc was inbounds. She kind of went down to her knees to slide, but her 1 foot was that first point of contact, and you can see it here when we slow down. Look at that, inbounds, and then she hits the sideline.
Great concentration.
You know, I think the observers, they've got a really challenging game, or a really challenging task in a game like this. When the game is so tight, it's going to come down to the wire. Every call matters, and I think they've been really excellent throughout this entire match.
Nice safe play from Sharon Yee, trying to put some pressure on that pass, but avoiding body contact.
And Austin Pruka making the fans go wild here in the stands here.
High stall count for Katie Stan. She just puts it down the field, trying to avoid giving the Pride a short field, but the disc never came back in bounds, unfortunately.
So now the Pride have a huge opportunity here. Penny Wu looking to go big right away. Madison Moore secures the disc and gets that transition offense going. Sarah Nolik with the disc. Not a lot of options. Corcoran gets free and sees Jacqueline Jarek put her head down. Just a little bit too much edge on the disc, and so if that would have been a little bit flatter and more towards the top of your screen on the right-hand side of the field, I think Jarek would have had an opportunity to run that down.
Yeah, I think it was a great choice. Jarek definitely had space there.
So if the Monarchs can slow down this transition offense by the Pride, I think they're going to get another opportunity, but they've got to get some big defensive shutdown plays here.
Great defense from Flowerman, shutting down that undercut. Yi was definitely looking to continue that pass.
Javersack on the far sideline finds Sharon Yi.
Yi has been so consistent throughout this weekend, able to move the disc confidently and keep this Pride offense moving.
What a great grab there from Corinne Pruitt to keep the possession alive, and the Pride call a timeout. And so the disc will go back to where Corinne Pruitt was on the field. Opportunity for both teams to reset their lines.
Stanton almost got a good piece of that. Would have been caught anyway on the deflection if there hadn't been a timeout call. But it's great effort from Stanton to try to keep the pressure on and get this disc back for the Milwaukee.
I think that last offensive possession by the Pride really showed how their patience pays off in big ways. You see the cutters who are uninvolved in the play staying wide and being patient, keeping their defenders engaged, so that the throwers have a good one-on-one matchup to throw to in space. Really let your athletes go shine, play to their strengths, get open, and then keep that offensive flow moving. I thought that was really great patience by the Columbus offense there.
In contrast, I think Milwaukee has become a little more stagnant downfield. I would love to see the cutters clear a little harder to open up space for each other so that that kind of isolation is available to the downfield Milwaukee players.
So we have Libby Lehman picking up the disc, and right in front of her is Duffner. And it looks like we're seeing some bracketing with Georgia Boscher and Ness Kennedy downfield. Great grab by Duffner. Looking for that give-go with Lehman, and Cara Sieber runs it down, keeps her feet in bounds, and that is a big break for the Columbus Pride.
That was just a fantastic throw. A great read by the receiver as well, but that throw was placed perfectly so that Ness Kennedy, who's very fast, did not have any chance to catch up to it. Throwing your receiver open.
You know, I think that the rain really limited Columbus's offensive look, because Libby Lehman did not seem very confident in those really wet conditions, putting those types of forehand hucks downfield. We really need that balance, though, for the Columbus offense, because you have a thrower like Kayla Emmerich, when the disc gets swung to her and she can throw up a backhand, we know she's going to take those opportunities. Lim hasn't taken a lot of deep shots, and I think having Lehman's flick available really balances out the offensive attack for the Pride. And now that the rain has stopped, it's a totally different game on offense for Columbus.
Yeah, it feels like Milwaukee's going to have to find some way to create the pressure to mimic those kind of limitations that the weather conditions are no longer taking away.
And so we have Columbus up right now, 8-7 on the Monarchs. It's been a while since we've seen the Monarchs offense really click. And Columbus stops that initiating pull play. Excellent grab by Rose Glinka there.
Gets up and throws it right downfield, continuing to Lipscomb immediately.
And you can see all of the energy right now from the Columbus Pride defenders, challenging every pass right now. And Lipscomb doing a really good job of keeping German out of the play. Boscher sees Strick attacking deep. Strick goes up, but it's just inches over her hand. Great defensive read by Mendoza there, I think, again, forcing Strick to go up when she probably wanted to run that out.
Yeah, would have been curious to see if an inside-out flick to the far side space might have been a little bit easier for Strick to track. But the Monarchs are going to get another shot at it.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate slip right there on the sideline. I mean, Eileen Duffner was wide open and just her feet kind of fell out from underneath her. Bosher gets it on the near sideline. Marge Walker gets the disc on the near sideline, looking for an option.
Backhand break coming.
Yeah, Georgia Bosher wide open. Looking to continue it to Sarah Lipscomb with the emphatic spike. Milwaukee responds. Yeah, Milwaukee responds with a pretty clean hold there in that second possession. You know, that first possession, I think that they could have continued to work it up, and I loved that they kind of, like, Georgia Bosher surveyed the field, was like, you know what, I don't need to throw somebody open. You saw Margaret Walker maybe look for a hammer look, and she's like, no, I'm going to stay composed here. But, I mean, the disc doesn't work its way up there if Rose Blanca can't save that initial swing pass.
That was huge.
That was huge for the Monarchs. So just the story of fundamental end zone offense, attacking the break side, well-timed cut from Sarah Lipscomb, and we're all tied up again.
Yeah, going back to that grab by Glinka, that would have given the Pride an extremely short field, and we've seen their end zone offense be really efficient, and so it was a great job, great concentration from Glinka to save possession there and make sure that the Monarchs were able to gain a lot of yards downfield.
I think Sarah Lipscomb was absolutely crucial for the Monarchs in that last possession. She did an excellent job of finding open space to get that offense moving after that Glinka save. Jareen Taylor winds up for a pull for the Monarchs. And it looks like Libby Lehman is going to pick up the disc while the Monarchs set their defensive look. Ness Canada looking to shut down that initiating cut. Barrett finds Lynn. And Jackie Welsh looking to contend on that cut by Turner, but Turner is able to secure that.
Welsh has a great mark here.
And Lehman shooting deep.
Wow.
Wow, Barrett just, I think that was a really beautiful trust throw right there. Barrett was sandwiched between Ness Canada and Mila Flowerman. You know, if the defensive personnel had been in opposite positions with Mila Flowerman kind of as the near defender, I think that she would have been able to challenge Barrett in the air there. Ness Canada is more of the speedy run-through defender, goes up and challenges, but...
Yeah, Canada also is really good at boxing out, and if she had been on the backside, I think she would have taken a step toward the cutter and made it very difficult for her to go up at the right time.
But you know what? Excellent read by Barrett. I think, too, Libby Lehman is really good at reading who's hot right now, right? Like, Barrett looks like she's confident, she's loose, she's having fun. And when you see that type of receiver with a couple of steps, you want to reward them and you want to give them an opportunity to make a play. So great execution by the Pride, and Pride are back up by 1. We've already seen more scores in the first minutes of this quarter than we did all through quarter 3.
It's true.
Penny Wu with a big pull. Nolik bobbles it, but secures it and gets it up to Corcoran. Milwaukee looking to attack that backhand side, and
there's the big Georgia Bosher backhand.
There's that Georgia Bosher backhand. Jarek gets it and finds Madison Moore. What a fundamental offensive pull play by the Monarchs. Jarek able to attack, not let Iris Javersack get in position, and continue it to a wide open Madison Moore. You can tell that Jacqueline Jarek is super dialed in right now.
And all of that was set up by a great break side throw from Corcoran, getting the disc to Georgia Bosher, who had enough time to step out and rip that backhand.
Yeah, I think Kerner was initially too worried about defending against that flick huck. Georgia Bosher's backhand huck, I think it could end wars. I really think it's that strong. I think as a defender, anytime that you're matched up against a thrower like Georgia Bosher, you want to limit her preference of throwing that big backhand huck. I mean, she's so pinpoint accurate with it. And Jarek, great setup on that cut. and way to keep Javersack out of the play. Iris Javersack is one of the best defenders when it comes to up in the air possession. So that was a great play.
A clean hold from the Monarchs, and they're going to try to set up some pressure right away, pulling the disc toward the sideline.
And Jareen Taylor keeping Lim on the sideline. Lim able to get it off to Kayla Emmerich, but didn't get to gain a lot of lateral yards there. But she's able to hit the deck, pick up that save, and great athleticism by Libby Lehman to avoid that collision. I like that the Monarchs have put Austin Pruka on Barrett downfield for the Pride because, again, she's feeling really strong. I also love the Mila Flowerman-Duffner matchup. And look at that, shutting down those big options downfield led to a big turnover. Mackenzie Carpenter has the disc on the sideline and heard a whistle blow. Coach Becky Ladone calls a timeout, able to get, probably a reset on not only on the stall count, but get a new offensive line in. Keep that D-line fresh. I mean, wow, they match up so well with that Columbus offensive unit there.
Yeah, and you could tell that Ness Canaday was ready to attack the end zone immediately after getting that block. She had a couple steps going deep, but with the disc, with an opportunity to really establish an efficient break opportunity, no surprise the Milwaukee coaching staff is calling another timeout here.
And we're going to see some big defensive pressure. Hannah Frank secures the disc and gets it moving over to Jareen Taylor right away with no immediate continuation. Becky Ladone says, let's get our O-line who just had that super efficient hold. Looks like they're going to isolate Jacqueline Jarek out in space, but you see Sadie Jazerski poaching off the back of that stack, ready to go help in the deep space if Jarek does go and attack there.
We'll see what Sarah Lipscomb can do to make sure that Jazerski has to respect her cutting as well.
Sarah looking for a reset to Corcoran. A lot of commotion near the disc. Lipscomb gets it, stays in bounds and finds Corcoran. Corcoran looking for a reset, finds Nolik. Looks like a pick was called off the disc. Looks like Dom Sutherland was the person who called that pick as Lipscomb was clearing out of the way. She obstructed her play on that swing to Nolik, so Corcoran has the disc coming in at stall 5. You can see the Monarchs are trying to get back into that vertical stack, finding Katie Stanton for the swing.
That was a great high stall option from Stanton, making it really easy for Corcoran to push that disc over toward the break side.
Corcoran finds Nolik. Nolik fakes the big around. Lipscomb is doing a great job of keeping Sadie Jazerski out of the play. And Mendoza just can't make the play. Madison Moore secures the disc. And that's another big score for Milwaukee. Milwaukee takes the lead 10-9. I mean, if you're Milwaukee, you're so happy by the offensive production by Madison Moore right now. I mean, she's coming up with really big grabs. She has such a knack for finding the end zone. Just a super high IQ player right now. Really well timed. Lipscomb just knows that Madison Moore is going to pull that disc in despite that defensive pressure from Mendoza on the Pride.
Yeah, and I'm really impressed too by the way Milwaukee has been able to move the disc through a lot of different players, not just their handlers who are working together, but also cutters downfield, providing opportunities to swing the disc when the handlers have had to clear out upline. Great work from Stanton there, and Lipscomb as well, keeping the disc moving.
And we're seeing that a very similar defensive unit as that last line that got the disc back. Boscher winds up for a big pull, and it looks like, they're looking to run down and pressure that first immediate pass to Lehman. Walker gets down on the pull, forcing Kayla Emmerich to reset to Lim. Austin Pruka on Cara Sieber on the near sideline. That's a great matchup. Lim doesn't have any big options despite getting the disc in power position.
That was a great job from Jackie Welsh. She shut down the deep cut to take away Lim's option to the deep space and then got a run-through block on the under afterwards. Excellent defense from Welsh.
Looks like she slipped out of her cleat, though, is able to get her foot back in. Hannah Frank not given a lot of options there from that initiating stack, giving Columbus another chance. Marge Walker doing a great job limiting Lehman's touches on that first possession. Lim finds Sieber on that close sideline, and Barrett's open in the space, but Sieber hesitates to throw.
Ooh, I think Canada got caught a little bit baiting that throw, and it worked out for her as the disc sails out of bounds.
Yeah, it looks like the Monarchs got a little help right there from the wind. You could see the disc from Sieber was very flat, but the wind was able to get underneath it and pop it up over her intended receiver. Again, Barrett is, I think, the hot receiver right now, and anytime you're a thrower and you see Barrett with those steps in the end zone, that's going to be the look that the Pride's looking to attack with.
We see that Welsh did indeed slip out of her cleat, took a substitution, and Jarek is on the field to replace her.
Is everyone good?
And so the disc will be coming in.
Disc is live, you can move. 20 seconds.
On the goal line. Hannah Frank walking up to pick it up. Georgia Boscher right in front of her in the space, gets open. Again, I love when Georgia Boscher has a lot of space to work with. No one was going deep though when she lost her defender. Austin Pruka can't quite reel it in. The disc was thrown just a little bit behind her. And so Libby Lehman will walk to pick up the disc. Marge Walker forcing Lehman backhand. Again, trying to limit those forehand options, but Lehman so confident and steps right through that.
Jarek really dropping into the lane to force the disc backwards.
Duffner just on the doorstep. Resets to Sieber. Pick was called on the sideline or in the end zone. Ness Canada was obstructed from continuing her defense on Barrett. Again, that's a good matchup to watch out for. And still can't stop Barrett. Barrett had that step and able to reel in a really difficult catch.
Yeah, that was a nice placement for that throw. Had a lot of pace on it, but was just to the right space.
What a treat. I mean, we came into this half, the Monarchs had I would say a reasonable cushion. It didn't feel like there was any need to push. And I think the weather conditions, the Columbus Pride were able to make those adjustments, get back in the game, and now we're all tied up at 10-10 with just over a minute to go on the clock. And every single point is going to matter. Yeah. Every possession, every pass, and I'm really interested to see how the Monarchs respond here. It feels like they're trading, but the Monarchs have not had a clean hold for a few points now.
You know, it feels like that cushion they had earlier in the first half felt comfortable, maybe only because of the way the game had gone up to that point, but great adjustments from the Columbus Pride to really step up the pace of this game. And Milwaukee is going to have to find a way to hold efficiently and cleanly to stay on top here.
And Penny Wu has a great pull. The Pride comes down and finding their matchups, centering to Corcoran. I love this side stack.
That's
isolating
excellent.
Georgia Boscher in space, but great shutdown defense by Sharon Yee.
Yeah, that was a really good job. Sharon Yee read the cut perfectly. Normally a person who defends handlers, and Boscher's been all over the field today, so that's a great job from Yee.
And Sadie Jezierski lays out to secure the disc. We've got under a minute left to play. And unlike the other three quarters, the Columbus Pride do have to try to score before time expires. So we have 30 seconds. We're going to be treated to a buzzer beater here.
This is crunch time for both teams here. Nice work from Stanton to add some pressure early.
Yee has the disc. There's been a call on the field. Pick has been called on the field.
Back to 26 seconds, please. 26.
We're going to have to reset the game clock based on when the pick occurred.
Right to you? Okay.
The game is starting. Game clock is at 26 seconds. Yee has the disc. We've got Jezierski in the deep space.
Good pressure from Lipscomb.
Penny Wu, that's who we want the disc to be in their hands. We want Penny Wu to have that disc. A lot of creative options. Sadie Jezierski with the disc, 5 yards out, 10 seconds left on the clock. Some give-go action. Penny Wu looks to the break side. She's got 5 seconds left.
Ooh,
and Jezierski able to reel in that catch with 1.6 seconds left. what a big play. I mean, you knew that Penny Wu was going to have the disc in her hands, looking for Sadie Jezierski in the end zone. The Monarchs have 1.6 seconds to go. So let's take another look at that. Sadie Jezierski catches the block, makes sure she secures it, gets that offense going. Penny Wu gets the disc. Lipscomb does everything she can to limit the options. Penny Wu just puts it out into space. I thought Katie Stanton was going to come up with that block, but Jezierski able to grab it and bring it in for the score.
There's just a ton of experience showcased during that possession. They were able to run down most of the 30-35 seconds left and score exactly with only 2 seconds left, making it really difficult for Milwaukee to come back here. That was a great possession for Pride, and now they're going to come down and do everything they can to stop the one last second goal.
So the game clock will begin when the disc is fielded. So as soon as the disc is caught by Milwaukee, Milwaukee's got to try to get a good pass off. And I don't think that out of bounds pull is what they were trying to do. As soon as the disc, so now Georgia Bosher is going to get the disc. And as soon as the disc is tapped in, she's going to have the opportunity to throw something. I don't think that was what they were intending to do. I would have liked to have seen like maybe a roller pull, or they could have set, a trap mark on one of the sidelines. But
agreed. And you know that Bosher has the throws to make this kind of distance happen. And all the Columbus Pride defenders are back in the end zone. None of them trying to limit Bosher's throws downfield. She's going to rip it back in.
And Bosher puts it up. This is a buzzer beater scenario for the tie.
Wow.
And Kayla Strick comes down with it.
Wow.
Georgia Bosher able to get that disc off in under 2 seconds. Kayla Strick reads it expertly, and we are going into overtime. Who would have thought that was going to happen? I think everyone here thought the game was going to be done, but instead we are treated to an overtime thriller for the championship game. The crowd here is so pleased that they're going to get some more ultimate. Let's take a look. Jabersack taps it in, and again we see that Georgia Bosher backhand. The pack assembles, and Kayla Strick comes down with it. You can just see how ecstatic her teammates are. And so now the Monarchs get to ride this high into overtime. I mean, Columbus was feeling really good, and I think that was a mis-execution on the pull. Set up an opportunity, and the Monarchs, despite being a first-year team, able to capitalize on the biggest moment we have seen so far in any of these regional championships. I don't think that we've had a regional championship this exciting all year, and we've been treated as a bunch of fans. So,
I think you're right, Robin. The pull being thrown out of bounds near half field was not what the Pride were going for. I think that it was very difficult for them to make the adjustment that to add additional defenders in front of Georgia Bosher, taking away that backhand. Great job from her to put that disc up and give Kayla Strick an opportunity to come up with a huge grab.
Yeah, and just to clarify, double teams are not allowed in the Premier Ultimate League, so any defenders would have had to have been out in the space in front of Georgia. So right now, just to help all of our viewers at home, we are going into overtime. So in the Premier Ultimate League, overtime is 4 minutes with regulation timing. There is a coin flip that's going on right now. And overtime 1 will start based on how the outcome of this coin flip goes to see who starts on offense and defense. Observer Patty Driscoll's explaining all of those rules to the captains and coaches down the field.
Okay, Columbus called at the beginning of the game, so we'll have Milwaukee call the coin flip. Yeah, sure.
Let's say we chose to pull this one.
You would receive second. Right.
If
there's a second.
But there's no flip after like 2 minutes of the first one.
No.
During overtime, each team does have one timeout too, so just so everyone knows.
Red always wins this.
We'll receive. Which direction would you like to pull?
I feel like
You keep the size in double.
Oh, we can.
I mean, like,
sorry.
Columbus Pride won the toss.
The Monarchs will start on offense for this overtime.
Okay, Columbus will be pulling from there. Milwaukee down here. We have 2 minutes. 2 minutes left in this break.
So let's take a look at those end of game plays there to get us set up for this overtime. Penny Wu finds Sadie Jezierski with 2 seconds left on the clock. You can see the Monarchs are just, they're kind of deflated, but they were able to turn it around and come up with the biggest play in 2021 for the Premier Ultimate League. Kayla Strick coming down with that backhand from Georgia Boscher.
You know, I'm so impressed with Strick there. She's gone up, she's had to go up early in a lot of moments already today under high pressure situations, and there at the end of the game when it all was on the line, she was able to come up with that grab. Super, super cool to watch her.
And just a reminder, overtime, our first overtime is 4 minutes with regulation timing. If the game is still tied after the completion of overtime, we will go to a sudden death second overtime where the first team that scores wins. So right now, both teams have 1 timeout per overtime. So in this first overtime, we have 1 timeout per team, and the Monarchs will be starting on offense. Let's take another look at what the big play that brought us to overtime. Georgia Boscher finds Kayla Strick in the end zone, and Milwaukee's riding not just a high with the players on the field. The fans are so excited. The Milwaukee fans are so loud right now. I don't know if y'all can hear them on the mics, but it is, I feel like Glenn and I are kind of shouting right now because, to be quite honest, just hearing all of the crowd energy and noise, this is the game I think that everybody was excited for, and the players have really delivered.
Yep, so 4 minutes now in the first overtime.
Penny Wu winds up for that pull, and we're treated to like a whole new game right now, Glenn.
Yeah. Another out of bounds pull.
Jenny Corcoran's going to pick up the disc and bring it into the center of the field for the Monarchs offense. Looks like the Monarchs are looking to do another side stack isolation play.
I would not be surprised here to see this come out as a flood option with Marge Walker underneath.
Yeah, right now it looks like that's exactly what's happening. And Penny Wu reads that play fake.
Nice job there for Corcoran to throw the lefty backhand.
A low huck, but finds Jacqueline Jarrett for a big gain. Lipscomb almost loses it on the fake there. Resets to Corcoran. And Corcoran sees Madison Moore.
Wow.
And she wasn't able to reel it in. What a great play by Penny Wu. Just puts her body out into space and able to deflect the disc. And so Penny Wu's picking up the disc. She's got 80 yards to go.
She's likely to attack right away and does.
Marge Walker in the deep space can't get a hand on the play. Schroeder reads it. Nolik tries to bid there, unable to come up with it. Looking for Iris Javersack. And Sarah Nolik goes up to pressure the catch. And it looks like there will be a call in the field. Javersack and Nolik, I think both think they have the disc first.
If there was a tie, then the player on offense would get to keep the possession.
Let's go down to the field and let's see what the observers have to say.
Okay, so neither of us. Yeah, no, we're just going to. So neither of us are 90% on the call, so we're going contest.
And again, another opportunity there where the observers, I appreciate that if they're not in position to make the call and the players can't work it out, they're sending it back to the thrower. So we're going to bring the disc back. Let's see if we can get a closer look at it. I can't tell who had it first. It's hard to tell. So we get another opportunity for the Columbus Pride in the end zone. And Nolik reads that throw to space from Penny Wu and gets a layout block there on the goal line. Marge Walker picks it up. Doesn't like that initiating cut from Stanton, finds Jarek.
Jarek had to go through a defender there to make that undercut. And Moore is able to track that perfectly. The throw is right around Penny Wu.
Lipscomb with the disc about 20 yards outside of the end zone, resets to wide open Jarek.
Again, there's a ton of pressure here from the Columbus defenders on every pass.
Great shutdown D by Zoo there, limiting Nolik's options. But Milwaukee able to swing it all the way across the field there. Jarek finds Lipscomb for an easy under. Lipscomb looking for an option. Cutters were stagnant downfield, but Corcoran gets open for that reset. And Corcoran looking for that inside break. Looks like there might be a call in the field there on the mark. Corcoran going to her mark, Cherny, to try to resolve it. Let's go down and see if we can hear on the mic'd observers.
Okay. So are we no contest, contest, or coming to me? No contest, foul, no contest, in on one.
Sharon Yee accepting the call. So that means that Corcoran will get a fresh stall count in the middle of the field. So let's see who they choose to isolate here. Jarrett clears out of the space. Marge Walker wide open. Again, Milwaukee is very stagnant right now. Marge Walker looks for that hammer and able to find Katie Stanton for the first score of overtime.
You know that Marge Walker has that in her arsenal at all times. She's been relatively conservative with the over-the-top throws today, probably given the conditions. That was a great time to bust it out. Perfect throw to Katie Stanton for the goal.
And, Marge Walker and Katie Stanton, O-line teammates in the club division with Noyes and Madison. I wouldn't be surprised to see some more connections like that. I think Margaret Walker was taking advantage of the fact that her mark was a little bit flat, trying to limit those around options, and Margaret Walker just puts the disc up beautifully to Katie Stanton, who's wide open on that break side for a hammer score.
And that's a great option there because it's really difficult for the defender to come through and make a block there when the disc is on the other side of the receiver.
And, that's a bit, the replay we're seeing right now, that was a big play, and the fact that Columbus wasn't able to take advantage of that. Nolik had some great heads-up defense. Jarrett taking advantage of Madison Moore getting separation from Penny Wu, and honestly, Milwaukee able to capitalize on the opportunity right there. So Kayla Emmerich looking to field the pull up to Libby Lehman in the center of the field for Columbus.
About 1 minute and 15 seconds on the clock in overtime.
Barrett looking to reset the disc to Emmerich.
Frank doing a good job of shutting down that upline option, forcing Columbus to lose yards. And again,
Duffner getting the disc with Austin Pruka in pursuit there. It seems like the Monarchs are okay with resets. And what an uncharacteristic turnover for Kayla Emmerich there. Had a wide open option and unable to connect, so Georgia Boscher is picking up the disc. We have 40 seconds left. Kara Sieber on the mark. Boscher communicating with a fake that she's not willing to put that deep. The Monarchs just have to maintain possession here. They're up by 1. They just need to maintain possession for the remainder of this 30 seconds. I'm sure they'll take an easy score if it presents itself, but it's not necessary right now. The Monarchs just need to continue to reset the stall count. Looks like there's been a call in the field.
Looks like a timeout from the Monarchs. They're going to really put exactly who they want in the field right now to maintain possession for the last 17 seconds in this game.
And I almost think that timeout call was just so Becky Ladone, head coach of the Monarchs, could bring her team in and say, we don't need to do anything special. We just need to maintain possession. They're up by 1, 17 seconds left in overtime. All they have to do is maintain possession, find open hands, and keep the clock running. And so the Monarchs disperse. Columbus has the opportunity here to set a line with big throwers and receivers who can go run down if they do get the play. So we're going to see Barrett stay on the field with Lehman and Sieber. The Pride are going to add Javersack. We're going to see
Sutherland.
Jazersky. Yeah. Not surprised to see Derman on either. Yeah, Kayla Emmerich just not able to connect with Barrett on that undercut. And so we've got Sarah Nolik tapping the disc in, coming in at 0. And all they have to do is complete maybe 2 passes here. With 17 seconds left, a violation was called. Georgia Boscher looks like she started her cut before Jezierski tapped the disc in.
When you're ready.
Okay, Jezierski's about to tap it in. Game clock starts. Just need to complete a few passes. We've got 10 seconds left, and all we need to do is hold on to the disc right here. And as the clock expires, the Monarchs are going to win the Midwestern Regional Championship in their first year as a team, able to win a championship. That's so big. You can see the team celebrating pretty big, able to ride that high from that big play, that Georgia Bosher to Kayla Strick connection to force the overtime.
You know, Robin, I'm so impressed with the way the Monarchs came into this game. We're able to maintain their composure, especially under a new rule set. Their first time in the league, they were able to do everything they needed to be really intelligent and grind out the end of this game.
And honestly, as someone from southeastern Wisconsin, to be able to see a hometown team win a big game like this, I'm so excited for what the growth in this energy will do for the Ultimate community, not just in Milwaukee, but also in Madison and Chicago. Great game. You know, I think Columbus did a great job of adjusting their strategy to get back into the game. I think that after Milwaukee was able to force overtime, you know, they were really unable to get their energy levels back to where it was when they thought they had sealed the game. Right now we see Ness Canada coming down to talk to Leslie Bowie, but I feel like we're gonna take a couple minutes to get everybody all set and ready to go. Wow, I can't believe that we were treated to such a delight right there.
An incredible game. The fans are super excited still, hugging each other, really proud of their hometown team.
And I think, to be quite honest, and the other two regional championships, we didn't get to see the hometown really take advantage of being the home team and win the regional championship. But before we let you go, let's take a look at that buzzer beater. Iris Javersack taps the disc in. Bosher able to get a big backhand up into space, and Kayla Strick goes up and able to secure the disc even through some contact from the Columbus defenders. And I love being able to see Katie Stanton, who's one of the owners and founders of the Monarchs, really excited and celebrating with her team. So let's take it down to one of the other founding members of the Monarchs, Ness Canada, who's live on field with Leslie Bowie.
I'm down on the field with Monarchs co-founder Ness Canada. Ness, this was an incredible game. Really just amazing buzzer beaters, overtime. Couldn't really ask for more. How are you feeling right now?
Absolutely amazed at our team and our coaches and everybody who came out today. This was the best possible game we could have asked for. Just so happy.
Yeah. And this has been, 2 years in the making for you all. As a new team to the PUL, what does that mean for you right now?
Oh my gosh, what a struggle to have our first season canceled last year, and then this weekend, yesterday, when the lightning came and wouldn't go away, we were like, oh no, it's happening again. So to be able to play today was just really great for our organization to be able to put this together, give our team a chance to play together. They've been waiting so long and working so hard, so it's really great.
Yeah, and what are you most proud of, with this championship weekend, all the build-up, all the hype? What is it that you're most proud of?
I'm so proud to see these women coming together. Many of them have played against each other for the most part for the last, however long. And so it's really amazing to come together in a team, bring those different styles, experiences. We have some really veteran players teaching some of the younger players new things, and it's a beautiful way to play Ultimate.
It definitely is. Well, congratulations, Ness, on the big win, and we look forward to seeing you all next year as well.
Thanks.
Back to you all.
And we're live at Hart Park, where the Milwaukee Monarchs have won their first regional championship as a franchise in their first year as a team. Just so many congratulations to all the athletes who competed this weekend. I think all of the fans at home and the fans in person got to see some incredible feats of athleticism all weekend by all three teams who came and showed us how hard they've been working for the last 2 years. I mean, for Milwaukee, and it's in their first franchise year as a team, able to get a really big win that you can build your whole franchise around. We did get to see some really great grabs by the Columbus Pride, who fought back after halftime to get this game tied up. We thought that, you know, Milwaukee may have lost it, and they were able to turn the momentum around. Some really just big, tough plays.
Yeah, a ton of credit to Columbus here. They made some great adjustments during this game. They really brought it back and looked really confident throughout the second half, coming up with some huge plays. And
we're so excited that we got to watch this with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please continue to support the Premier Ultimate League. From Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, I'm Robin Fennig, and for Glenn, thank you so much for tuning in with us. Hope to see you next year.